My name is Diane Dick. I'm a parent, a life partner, a lover of animals, and a passionate leader, trainer, and coach. I founded Legacy Training and Development, Play with Purpose, and have created a new leadership program called The Human Element, Leading with the Human Touch. The heart of the leader happens to be the first of 8 elements in that program. And it's where I believe it all starts. You see, people don't remember what you say as much as they remember how you make them feel. I learned this lesson most of all from my parents, who have left an amazing legacy in my hometown, where people still remember them today. But why wait? Today is the day. Live your legacy today, and it all starts with your heart. You can start right now. Start living your legacy today to help build a better tomorrow. Join me in the VIP room to learn more about the human element and how we are changing the world through our heart for leadership. Thank you so much. I hope to see you soon.
Our final guest is everyday leader Tim Shurr, who has an advanced degree in psychology and is a multi-award winning hypnotist. He's facilitated over 15,000 individual coaching sessions and hundreds of group training experiences over the last 32 years. As an award-winning leadership speaker, Tim has helped corporate clients earn millions in annual revenues using the One Belief Away method from his Amazon best-selling book, One Belief Away. Please help me welcome everyday leader Tim Shurr. Hello, Tim.
Hi, Melanie.
Welcome.
Nice to see you.
You too, you guys.
Loving your conference, your speakers. Oh my gosh, so good. What a successful event.
This has been so much fun. Thank you so much. I'm getting a little feedback over there. Is it on my end? I just want to make sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Tim, you might want to turn your mic down just a little bit, or your speakers.
All right. Hang on one second. Okay. How's that?
I think better. Yes.
Better?
Yes.
Test 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Is this thing on?
This is live. Hello. Hey, you guys, listen. You may not know Tim Shurr. Tim Shurr is another. I told you I opened it up with Hoosiers, and we're closing this with Hoosiers. Tim is right here in Indianapolis. And when I started, going not traveling on a plane every day and realizing all the things in community leadership and development, Tim Shurr's name just kept coming up. Do you know Tim Shurr? Do you know Tim Shurr? Do you know Tim Shurr? And then he put on this amazing Legend Summit. And it had, when I'm saying legends, Les Brown, Jim Cathcart, you think of the people that you have been influenced by and read their books because you believed in leadership capacity. These were the people. These were the people in the room. And then you had a second one. And I was like, oh my gosh, amazement. It blew my mind. And I said, Tim, when I do something here in Indy, I wish it was live today, but it's not. Yet you said, I'll help. I'll come. I want to participate because you teach us so much about just being, our mindset, and all the things that about personalities and beliefs of what we are, that changes our world. It absolutely changes everything that we can do. And so I wanted you to close this session out today because people have had a journal, right? We've had the VIP journal. We've heard from just people that have challenged us all day with interested visions versus commitment, making sure that we volunteer in the community the way that we should, being able to be a peer coach, believing that we have the ability to be a peer coach for someone else, believing that we can add value to others and knowing what our value is. So you're perfect to kind of close our session today and talk to us about your understanding of what our belief system can be and how powerful that is to change our lives. So welcome, and just take this away. Blow our minds. Yes.
Well, I started out 32 years ago with a single question. How do I get rid of my anxiety? Right? I was crippled with this fear of not being good enough, Are people going to like me? Are people going to abandon me? Right? This deep fear of just feeling like an imposter. It didn't matter what I accomplished. I felt like eventually people were going to figure out that I was a fraud. I wasn't going through life playing to win. I was going through life playing not to lose. And when you go through life in that way, because of the big T and little t traumas that we experience in our childhood, it forms these ideas in our mind about who we think we are, who we think others are, and the world, what kind of world around us we live in. And those beliefs can empower you, or they can hold you back in a significant way. And so in my journey to figure out how to overcome anxiety, I started understanding how our unconscious mind works. Or people will call it your subconscious, but it's really that part of your mind that holds your beliefs, your values, your habits, your life experiences. It's the part of you that's keeping your heart beating 100,000 times a day and you don't have to think about it. And it's also the part of you that is running patterns in your life that are either lifting you up or holding you back. And so I found that psychology, I ended up going to school for psychology, and I found that traditional therapy and trying to have a positive attitude and just talking about your problems and stresses weren't really changing much. You could go to therapy for 20 years and still not really feel that much better. And so we get on medication, which just causes a lot of side effects. And medicine doesn't change habits. It doesn't upgrade beliefs. It doesn't teach you what to do instead. And so we're walking around with this extraordinary power inside of us, and people just do not know how to tap into it and how to use it and how to use the power of their mind to create their life by design. So after all these decades and doing tens of thousands of sessions and becoming the top hypnotist in the world, I've been sharing what I've learned, and it's been a really extraordinary journey. And I'm so excited for, I'm 51. So the first 50 years, it took me to collect all of this understanding and these success formulas. And now the next 50 years, I'm going to make sure that as many people as possible understand how to transform their lives and that they have the power to do so before I go on to the next adventure.
Oh my gosh. I just love this, right? So you guys that are listening now in the Zoom room, isn't this amazing? I mean, if you could really just identify that one thing that's holding you back. And if it is anxiety, so many people are suffering with this right now, Tim, because of the pandemic. Maybe people look like on the outside, hey, I've got this all together. I've always been on Zoom. Nothing's really changed in my life. Our company was always prepared for this. And yet your family now lives in your house, and your family is now working in your house. And so this has affected everybody. So when you say, I don't know what anxiety looks like, it can take on a lot of different forms. And that's why I think it's so important that you're here in the room today, because speaking into what people believe that it looks like, right? It could be fear, it could be anger, it could be aggression, but understanding how to use that for good, how to get down deep and identify it. So can you really help us? I think, one of the questions on my mind is this whole awareness, right? How do you become aware if you're unaware, untapped into the anxiety that you feel, like those symptoms that you have? Can that be anxiety, right? Because I think.
Well, you're right. What you said about trying to figure out what that feeling might be. So you're exactly right, Melanie. Some people feel like it's pressure. Some say it's stress. Some say that they use that stress and pressure to drive them, and it makes them successful, which becomes a real bad problem down the road, because then the only way to get motivated is to feel like crap. It can show up as burnout and overwhelm. I've been interviewing top CEOs around the country for my How to Be Mesmerizing podcast. And the top leaders are saying that although productivity, the numbers are showing that although productivity has increased, because people do have, many people feel like they have a higher quality of life because they get to work from home, or they have this hybrid schedule. And so they're more productive because they can roll right out of bed and get right to work. they'll stay up later because they can get a few more things done. And instead of spending that 15 minutes or half hour or hour and a half drive time, they're putting it into their work. And so they're enjoying it. But anxiety's gone up 30% as well. And just like you said, because people are at home, and if you're not with a family, then that social isolation, right? Just that sense of, when is this ever going to end? That sense of uncertainty. So it can create all kinds of pressure. And then we come up with all kinds of ways to try to get rid of that pressure. So we distract ourselves with eating, smoking, drinking, taking prescription pills, shopping, trying to binge on Netflix and, anything that we can do. And sometimes it can be helpful to take a break, but often we end up creating more problems that we didn't have before. We have this terrible habit of trying to get away from pain by doing things that create more of it. So you asked a question of how can you figure out what's going on inside? And I do have an answer for you because people ask me that all the time. If you have these, it's not the situations we go through, it's the beliefs that come from them that mess with us. So if you're a little kid, like I was when I was 12 and my dad was working at a steel mill and there was an explosion and he got burned really bad. And then I didn't see my dad for several months and was moved in with my grandparents. And so then I didn't see either of my parents. And in my 12-year-old mind, my family was over. My sense of security was gone. And at any moment, the rug can be yanked out from underneath you. Through that experience, my mind formed a belief that I'm not safe and I'm running out. And as I got older, running out of what? I'm running out of time. I never have enough time, never have enough time. I'm going to run out of money. There's never enough money, right? I'm going to run out of love. Eventually, my wife's going to realize that I'm an idiot so much that she's going to divorce me, right? So I'm just running out. And those fears were just gripping me all the time. And it didn't matter how successful I became or the awards I won or the money I made. It did not matter because I was still in my mind going, yeah, but what if I lose it, right? What if it all goes away? And what if I end up all alone and no one's going to give a damn about me and no one's going to care about me, right? Now that might seem a little dramatic, but when you're sitting up in the middle of the night and your mind's going 1,000 miles an hour, those are the thoughts that people are having. And that's what gets us so burned out and so overwhelmed. And we just don't know how to deal with it. So they say, well, how do you get rid of the anxiety? You don't get rid of anxiety. You find the unconscious belief that's driving those feelings. So how do you find that belief if it's unconscious? By asking yourself a question. There's many ways of doing this, but I want to give you a question so you can use your journal and you can start to work through this today. So the question is, what would I have to believe in order to feel this way? And you just keep asking yourself that question over and over, kind of like in the movie Shrek, where he said, I'm like an onion, right? And I have layers. And the more layers I get to, the more I start to understand what's going on in my core. So if you think, well, I'm really stressed out because, I've got, I don't have anybody that I can hang out with at the office and I'm at home all the time and the dog's always barking and kids are yelling or my spouse is always there and I can't get quiet or I can never get away or I don't have that camaraderie of walking next door or someone in the next desk, and asking for ideas or help or just goofing around and you're having that stress. Well, ask yourself, well, what would I have to believe in order to feel all this stress? And you might have a thought like, well, that, I don't have any control over this situation. Well, what else would I have to believe? Well, if I don't have any control, then I have to believe that it's never going to get any better. Well, what else would I have to believe in order to feel this way? Well, if I don't have any control and it's not going to get any better, then, it's going to all fall apart and I'm going to end up losing my mind and then I'm going to get fired and then I'm not going to have any money and then I'm going to lose my house. And then, everybody's going to laugh at me. And, if you keep breaking it down, you can see how people start to get overwhelmed. Depression, I was listening to your last guest, and depression is a feeling of being helpless and hopeless. If you're in your mind telling yourself that you're out of control, there's nothing you can do about it, and it's only going to get worse, then you are causing yourself to feel helpless and out of control. You're causing yourself to feel that way. So when I was having all that anxiety, Melanie, I thought anxiety was happening to me. I didn't realize I was creating it inside.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, then once you realize that you're the one causing that, it's not blaming the victim. It's just realizing that you have the ability to take charge. You might not know how, but you can learn. Once you own it, then you can start to upgrade those beliefs. And then when you upgrade those beliefs, you can start to tell yourself a better story. But don't try to tell yourself a better story until you upgrade those beliefs, or it's like cutting the top of a weed off. It'll just keep growing back. You got to get it at the root.
Wow. That's a lot. Right?
Yeah.
Because if I would to ask the audience right now, do you have one thing that you believe is causing you anxiety right today? So it could be that you've sat online for 6 hours and you have to go to the bathroom, or that, you know, or that you've got to get supper ready, or that you've got to get in the VIP room next. And how are you going to do that? I got to get ready for work for tomorrow. And so like, what's that one thing right now that you feel that is holding you hostage, right? Holding you hostage, making you feel this sense of, you know, urgency, scarcity mindset, just terrified that then it creates all these other snowballing effects of stories. Everybody's got one. I've got one. I mean, everybody does. So hold that true, right? Hold that focus. And then just what Tim told you, that exercise, it's so great. Like, what do you believe about that? Because, man, you can, if you could really step into this and just take a moment, right? Take a moment and take more power for that, more control over that. That can help you just start to the perspective, I think, is what we've been talking about all day. But it allows you to step into your life with commitment instead of just, well, if I change that, I wonder if that would change how I feel about it. Right. And so I just think I sit here and listen to you and go, man, I know the people, I know myself. If I could change my belief about a couple of things, then it would change my behavior, which would change the results, which would change the mindset and create the results. And so it is just being reminded to start really getting clear in your mind of where you are, right? Where you are right now. And that panic kind of goes away, right? Some people call it a panic attack. And it's because we don't have any control over those extenuating, we don't feel like we have those extenuating circumstances. That's a physical, right? That can take you down. That can cause heart attacks. That can just like kill you. So it's serious.
Let me share some insights about that.
Yes.
As someone who's been getting rid of panic attacks in 20 minutes for decades with people who've had them for 30 years, right? I have a 100% success rate with getting rid of panic attacks. I'm doing it for decades.
Let's go.
So I'm very clear on what happens inside.
Let's go.
And so, first of all, if you're feeling pressure because you're running late and you got to go to the bathroom and you got other stuff going on, that's not anxiety. That's just you feeling stressed because you're telling yourself that you don't have enough time, or you're telling yourself some other story. And, you know, even though what you're saying is accurate, you telling yourself that's not anxiety. Anxiety is a deep fear that you are not safe, that something bad is about to happen that is going to create physical or emotional pain in your life. And what happens is, after, you know, feeling this anxiety and getting into this anxiety habit, you know, for so long, it's like our brain develops this fire alarm that if it even thinks we're in danger, it pulls the fire alarm, even though there's no fire. So we get into this habit of anxiety. And then we start saying, I'm just anxious for all kinds of reasons. And what I've learned is that if you are feeling anxious, it is not because of what's happening in your life right now. It's because of what happened in your life when you were a little kid. Now, when I was going through school in the beginning, that sounded very Sigmund Freud-ish, you know, and your childish beliefs and your drives. But after spending 26 years and doing 15,000 one-on-one sessions, oh, it's definitely because of that. We're not responding based on what's happening in the moment. We're responding based on experiences that we had in the past and the beliefs that were formed in our mind, and those experiences that were formed in our mind that cause us to react now as adults based on old programming from the past. And so it's going to be really difficult to just change your attitude. And it's going to be really challenging to just upgrade your beliefs on your own, because it's very hard to be objective with yourself. You know, it's very hard. I hang around the highest achievers in the world, and these are people who are doing personal development work all the time. And yet they still have their issues and their anxieties and their worries and their fears and their migraines and their, fibromyalgia and all the health problems because of decades of inflammation, holding your guards up because you don't feel safe inside. And so, no, it doesn't seem like we ever get deep enough to uncover what those real core beliefs about ourselves are. And so when I started realizing that and taking people through these experiences, it reparents us. It shifts our beliefs. So you can uncover what a belief is. So let's say, okay, I realize I'm unsafe. Well, what am I supposed to do about it? Well, you just tell yourself that you are safe now. And you know what everybody's going to say? Okay, I don't believe that. And it's because what we have to do is go through an emotional experience that equals the negative one we had. We've got to have these new emotional experiences that cause us to have a new, it's hard to explain sometimes, but a new experience in our mind that allows us to form a new belief. We have to go inside and be loving and nurturing and give that little girl or boy inside of us what they felt they were missing in those times of trauma. The love, the self-acceptance, the support, the encouragement, the protection, the understanding. And then through empowering that little kid inside of us, we then form the new belief. And the new belief then gets accepted in your unconscious mind because you have the emotions that back it up. The emotions that back it up. Remember, the beliefs are just opinions. And so what makes an opinion stick? The emotion that's around when the idea surfaces. Right. And so we have to create these new emotional experiences that empower us with new beliefs that allow us to shift from what you said, that scarcity mindset, to a prosperity mindset, so that when you are feeling scared, you'll know how to handle it in a more calm, mature way because you've upgraded your unconscious programming.
My goodness. Easy to say, hard to do.
Hard to do unless you know how. Mm-hmm. So you will see, I get real passionate these days, Melanie, and real just in your face. And this is how we're doing it.
Because, I love this.
Well, there's so many people that are doing it that is in a way that's never going to get them results. That is never going to get them where they want to be. And it breaks my heart and it drives me crazy because so much, like take weight loss, for example. The dieting industry is so bad. I mean, it's so bad. Would you go to a college where there's like a 99% failure rate? Of course not. But that's what dieting is. You should never do anything where the first three letters spell die, right? It's so broken that as soon as someone goes on a diet, they gain 5 pounds. So it is such a mess. And so when I'm watching how people are dealing with stress and how they're dealing with anxiety and how they're trying to cope with everything, so many of the tools out there are not going to work. They can be helpful, but they're not going to change the foundational stuff that's going on underneath. Mm-hmm. I had this yoga teacher. She was so mad at me. She's like, you don't deserve yoga. Because I said, if you're having an anxiety attack, doing, downward dog is not going to shift how you're feeling. Okay. Now I love yoga, right? It's great for mental strengthening and physical conditioning, but that's not going to change unconscious beliefs. And that is the way out of our fear and into our faith and into emotional maturity, is we have to upgrade all of that programming that's holding us back and making us feel like we're not enough.
Wow. The chat is going crazy. You guys have questions. This is awesome stuff, right? This is why it's the end of the day, because we know that you're struggling, and we've uncovered so much today of things that you think, hey, this will fix it. And if I do this, right, if you take action, maybe that'll make me feel better. And yet here we hear at the very end of the day, you got to put in the work, got to put in the work, you got to put in the work. You got to go back. You got to start at the foundation. You got to understand what it is that is triggering all of that from the very beginning. And Tim, you're just awesome. And you were very intentionally assigned to this position because it is true. We have to go very, 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 very deep into how we're going to make that change, how we're going to make that difference. Yeah. And so I just hope that people on this call, you're still on this call, that you've gotten the replay, you're listening to this, that you connect to Tim Shurr. And personally, to be able to really get his book, One Belief Away, and the next book that's coming out. I think this is really important, right? The thing that I took away from you just a second ago is, why would you sign up for anything that has the first three letters of die, right? It's true. It's the concept, it's the mindset that we put ourselves in. And yet we sign up because we're influenced by our society, by our culture, that this is going to fix everything. If I do this like everybody else, it's going to fix it.
And it won't. And it can re-traumatize you, because when it doesn't work, because the system is broken, then you're going to not say the system's broken. You're going to say, what's wrong with me? Why can't I do this? How come I can't stay? How can I be successful in all these other areas? But when it comes to taking care of myself, it's a disaster. Why am I so weak? And it re-traumatizes us. The answer is, you're not weak. The approach you're using cannot be sustainable, right? You cannot tell yourself, I love to eat and hate to exercise, and think that you're going to lose weight and never keep it off. Even if you lose weight, almost everybody gains it back, because the approach is broken. And because they're not addressing, there was one of my favorite books. I think it was wrote in the early 70s. It's called, It's Not What You're Eating, It's What's Eating You. and that's what we talk about. One, in this country, we're taught to use food as a distraction, right? And as a reward, and as a way that we comfort ourselves. But also, we have these beliefs inside that we're not supposed to take care of ourselves, that we're supposed to take care of everybody else, or that we're not worthy of taking care of ourselves. And so no matter how good our intentions are, we'll do the paperwork instead. We'll return the phone calls instead. We'll check our email instead. We'll go to the holiday parties and lose our mind instead. We'll be sitting there at 9 o'clock at night and thinking, you know what, I'm going crazy thinking about those donuts that are in the other room. I'm just going to do it. And then you eat the donuts and now you're so depressed, I might as well have the box of wine. And then in the morning, we're like, I hate myself. What's wrong with me? And that's the wrong question. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with you. You are beautiful and wonderful and whole and amazing and worthy of love and acceptance and all good things. It's just that we've got some programming. We've downloaded mental malware, and it needs to be upgraded. And nobody knows how to do that. Our smartphones get updated all the time, but most of us, Melanie, are walking around with the same MS-DOS programs that we started out with. And that's why people are struggling and why anxiety is going up.
You just got a clap over here from Joe.
Thanks, Joe. I love Joe and Melanie. You two are amazing.
Oh my gosh. This is awesome, Tim. I am, you guys, isn't this amazing? This is just amazing to close this day out. I love you. This is so great. And he's in Indianapolis. So for those of you that live here in the city, we're going to do some things together. So you're going to see Everyday Leaders, Tim Shurr. We're going to do some things together this year when we can get out of this mask environment, get back into the city and have some fun. This is so important, believing in yourself and figuring out how to do it, how to fix you first, Tim.
Yeah. Heal, not fix. Heal.
Yes. Heal.
Because you're not, fix implies you're broken. You are not broken. You are whole, right? But we do need to heal some stuff.
And everybody's got junk. So just understand this process is different. It's different than what it looks like, what your friends have gone through. It really starts with you. So believing that you are worth it, believing that it can change you. It can change you from the inside out. We've talked about all these steps today. And Tim, I just appreciate your time. I know that you are a busy guy. You said yes to this. And I just really, my heart, I appreciate you so much for doing this. And I want to encourage you guys, if you have your VIP booklet, if you are writing your notes in here, write that one thing down that you want to change. Join us in the VIP room here in just a second. You're going to get a different link for that. We're going to talk about some strategies. We're going to give you some tools, VIP exclusive only over the next 6 months that you're going to get access to. If you requested Tracy's book, I'm giving 10 of those away. I'd like to give a one belief away to someone in the audience today. Raise your hand, go fast for Tim's book. I've got it. It's amazing. I gave it away on a spin one day when I was doing a live, but I'd like to give another one away because I think it can change your life. So raise your hand, Anza. You can take a poll here, and we will get that shipped out to that person. So I'm excited, Tim. Thank you just for being an everyday leader, a friend here in Indianapolis. I know that there are going to be great changes for people when they follow your process and really start to live their best life. So thank you for sharing the stage with us today.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's always a privilege and an honor to be with you, and congratulations on putting together yet another extraordinary event. I'm really pleased that I got to be a part of it. So I'll see you again real soon.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. You guys, the poll Anza's putting here in Zoom, Tim's questions, right? There's a few questions that we said we were talking about love at work. And so what does that look like? How do you exhibit love? So listening, being present, but then the safe environment is really important, right? So the safe environment, do you feel safe at work, at home? And those may be causing you some of those anxieties that Tim was talking about. So it would be great to start to identify those things in your life. The last thing that I have for you, right? It is 6:20. Oh my gosh, here we go. There's one closing challenge that I want to put out there, and this is in the post right now. So where do you need the momentum in your life? Where do you need that? We've asked about, VIP coming in here, joining the VIP room, because we're going to connect to all of these leaders to help you in your growth. Is it daily accomplishment? Is it renewed energy and purpose? Is it just to achieve more and bigger in life? These are all the things that we're going to be able to help you with. And then, are you ready to commit, right? Your heart for leadership every day. Every day you can come to our everyday leadership devotionals at 7:30 a.m. There's so much more. There's so much more packed in this. And we're going to share that with you in the VIP room. So you can still get the VIP access. You can get the journal. I thank you for being on this journey today, starting with Gary Brackett in Indianapolis, going all the way through the day with Tim Shurr here, helping us with one belief away. This is really critical to your growth, to your development, and I want to be on your journey with you. I encourage you to connect here at everydayleaders.com and let me know how we can help you on your journey. If you're in VIP, Ansa is going to send out the VIP link, and you can hop in to that Zoom room here in just a minute. So I will see you over there. Thank you guys all for today. Thank you, Joe, my producer. Thank you, Bonnie, for the journal. Ansa, you are amazing. You're just amazing. And I love you. I thank you to all of our guests and our speakers, you guys, for your time, your energy, your heart. Go out and change the day. Everyday leaders go change the world. And now you're equipped a little bit better to go do that. Have a great day. And I look forward to seeing you guys really soon. Bye.